What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Tyler Perry's Sistas. This is season 3, episode 10, and the episode is titled Run Till That. This episode, there wasn't a lot going on, but there's still some things that we need to talk about. So let's go ahead and get started with what happened at the top of the show. So Zach is on the phone with the woman from the bank, and she is telling him that he now has close to $800,000 because he bet on that stock, right? So, first of all, he doesn't believe it. Secondly, he's hype because he ain't never had this kind of money. Zach been broke his whole life. He don't know what to do with himself. But I found it interesting that the lady is like, yeah, well, how about this? We can sell 500,000 and then we can do this and we can do that. I'm surprised that the person at the bank is giving all these suggestions the way that she is. Because usually I would think that person would ask like, hey, these are the stocks that are available. This is how you can diversify, blah, 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 blah. I didn't think that they would specifically say, yeah, we can go ahead and take 500,000 and then cash you out. Like, I just feel like she was being very specific, and I did not expect that considering she's someone who works at the bank, and usually they don't give those type of suggestions. But nonetheless, Zach got money, y'all. Zach don't know what to do with himself because he got money. Now he's talking about so he gonna go meet up with this lady at the bank so he can figure out what he wants to do with all this money. But I just feel like Zach made some decisions in this episode that I hope does not come back and backfire on him. Because we're going to get to that a little bit later. But yeah, I'm happy for Zach because baby boy seemed like he been on the bottom for a long time. But we'll see how this plays out in Tyler Perry land. So we go ahead and move on to the next scene, which is Zach having a conversation with Fatima. It's the top of the morning, and first of all, I must say, Zach played this off quite well considering he just found out that he has all this money in his account, and he just went from being broke to having a little bit of coin. Because I definitely feel like he held it together instead of like blurting it out to Fatima like, yo, I got money now. But anyways, I'm trying to figure out why Fatima said, so do you want to talk about what we talked about last night? Tyler, could you please give Fatima and Zach something to talk about? Like, I've realized something, you guys. Tyler, he knows how to write conflict. He knows how to write drama. He knows how to write all these issues with couples. However, he does not know how to write for a thriving relationship. He does not know how to write for an everyday decent conversation between men and women that are dating. Like, we have yet to see that on this show, to be honest. Like, there's always some weird thing happening. Like, there's never just a general conversation where they just have a good time enjoying each other's company. Have you guys noticed that? That we have yet to see a conversation between any of these group of people to where they're just genuinely enjoying each other's company and they're just talking about whatever. It could be that the sun's shining bright today. Doesn't matter what the conversation is. There's always some underlying issue with the conversations that these people have. But back to Zach and Fatima. Why are we trying to reiterate what just happened last night? She's guarded. He wants to pursue her. She says that he loves Karen. We've established that about a good 8 times. Now, you guys know that I like Zach and Fatima together. I do. But this has nothing to do with the characters. This is all Tyler and his writing. Because I'm tired of them having the same conversation over and over and over again. Now, one thing that was said within this conversation, though, was that, he said that she was helping him get over Karen. And Fatima is like, oh, so now I'm just, a rebound chick? He's like, no, you're not a rebound chick. Here's the thing. Everybody is somebody's rebound, to be honest. Like, if you really think about it, everybody is somebody's rebound because you try and get over something that you dated in the past. So moving forward, she also asked him, where was he staying at? And he's like, oh, I'm just staying with a friend or whatever. You guys, how many days have gone by? I really need to know. Has it been a week since he messed around with Karen? Because I feel like she's asking him where is he staying when most of the times he's been staying at her house. I'm just so confused. I'm so confused with this episode and the dialogue. Oh, one other thing happened, and that was that Fatima ended up finding out that Zach has been sleeping in the truck, and yeah, that's where he's been staying. He has been staying with a friend. He's been sleeping in the truck. So if he's not in the truck, he at Fatima house. Moving forward, we get to Maurice and Q. They are having breakfast like a happy couple, and I'm over it. Again, Tyler, we are not accepting this whole Q concept. I'm pretty sure me and everybody else is against the idea of Q doing anything else with Maurice. But anyways, the fact that Q was like, so what we doing today? Excuse me? The average person has a job, sir. What you should be doing is trying to look for one. And like for Maurice to be like, yeah, I have a job, so I'm going to be going to work. And then for Q to assume, oh yeah, well I can just stay here and, crash at your house while you at work. Excuse me? The D can't be that good. Come on now. I said, you know what? But we're actually lucky that Maurice didn't say, go ahead and do that. Because y'all know how Tyler likes to write this show. For some reason, whoever you dating, you just go hang out at their house till they come back home. Y'all remember, what was that, season 2? Yeah, on season 2. The guys used to always be like, all right, I'll wait till you get back. Aaron waited up for Karen at her house before. Zach waited up for Karen at her house before. Gary waited up for Andy. It was just an ongoing thing. I think Calvin, he waited up for Sabrina before. Tyler loves to write for people to just wait up for people in somebody else's apartment. Because at the end of the day, it's not like these men live there. So I'm surprised that Maurice had enough sense to make sure Q left his house. So back to Q, we basically find out that he is gay for pay. Or should I say gay for shelter. Because baby boy has no home. Because at one point in this conversation, he's like, yeah, I just do what I have to do. Which is basically saying, if somebody is going to let me sleep at their house, I'll sleep with them. It don't matter who they are or what they are. Doesn't matter. I'm just like, Maurice, you should feel dumb that you slept with Q. Because who knows what's going on over there with Q's situation. Because he already a prostitute, literally, in every sense of the word. And he's a meth addict. Like, are we forgetting this? Alright, let's go ahead and move on. Because now we see Danny and Sabrina, they are having a conversation that I feel like we have had already. Like, I feel like they have already talked about this. Danny is feeling some type of way because Preston is not asking her anything of substance, as if we have ever seen Danny be of substance. Like, make it make sense. Also, my main issue with this is her lack of communication skills. She will talk to everybody else except for Preston about her issue. She will not talk to this man. And then for her to be like, he's just so simple. Sweetheart, when's the last time you have engaged in conversation with Preston? Because let's be honest, when she's mentioned how he doesn't ask her anything of substance, sweetheart, when have you ever brought him any substance? The only time that you have ever even been open and vulnerable was when his family treated you bad, first of all. And secondly, every time y'all have a conversation, if it's not about work, you know, between both of y'all saying how y'all day went, you're talking about the drama with the girls. So let's not act like you're having these prolific conversations, Danny. Cut it out. So then out of nowhere, here we go with Sabrina. She's like, yeah, I'm not talking to Jacoby right now. As if that was an option. Like, you shouldn't be trying to talk to him. So then she tells Danny, like, yeah, but he came over last night. You know, he was apologizing, but I think that he was high. Now, as a viewer, I did not take it as he was high. I don't know how she got to that conclusion, but I will say that yes, it's annoying that he keeps begging and pleading with Sabrina, especially considering I guess he wants his job back. But I am trying to figure out, is he going to be on this new stripper show? Because if he's going to be on that stripper show, I want to make this a smooth transition. I need him to stop visiting Sabrina. I need him to leave Sabrina completely alone and then move on to the next show. But let me go ahead and move on. Alright, now let's go ahead and move on because we see Zach. He goes to the bank. He's looking for Lady Natalie, and Maurice directs him to where she is. Now, one thing that got me was the fact that Maurice was giving him all this attitude when he doesn't even know Zach. Like, that was so weird to me. Now, I get it if he's, you know, giving attitude because of things that Sabrina may have told him about Zach. But at the same time, I just feel like that still doesn't give Maurice the right to be like, he's a loser or whatever he said when Zach walked away. Because I'm just like, Zach was nice to you this entire time that he even visited the bank. I'm not sure why we're getting this energy from Maurice about Zach. But moving on from that, Zach ends up talking to this lady, Natalie, right? Oh, but wait, before we even get to that, here comes Sabrina right after Zach walks into that room. She's like, so what was that all about? Sabrina, if you don't take your nosy self somewhere else, go file some papers or something. Shouldn't you be going through the hiring process so that you can go ahead and hire somebody to take Jacoby's place? Go get you some business, Sabrina. Alright, now let's go ahead and talk about Zach and his whole stock trading situation. So, he's in there. He finds out that he has all this money. He needs to figure out what to do with it. And the woman is like, okay, well, how about this? You can go ahead and take the $500,000 and then the rest of it, we'll keep it in a stock, and then we're going to figure out how to diversify your money, and that should work. He is all down for it. Only thing that he wants is a cashier's check for $72,000, and he wanted the money to be moved to a different account. That was pretty much all he wanted. He was good, right? Now, as we already know, that cashier's check is going to go right to Karen. Now, there is one thing about this conversation that stood out to me that he was having with this bank, what is her? She's not a bank teller, but the lady at the bank, okay? So, when he was talking about how, you know, he wants to diversify and all this stuff, and she's like, oh, well, here's a folder of all of the stocks that have been doing well that I would suggest that you would invest in. And when he was like, yeah, can you just email that to me? Because I'm not going to know what I'm looking at. Sir, you can look at it in your email. You're still not going to know what you're looking at. Like, no offense to Zach, but it's like, dude, you could have just took the folder and moved on. Now, speaking of moving on, let's go ahead and hop on over to the next scene. And that is with Andy. She's at the office and she's talking to Fatima about what went down with Gary. Because as we already know, he did not show up the night before and he didn't want to talk about anything. So, next thing you know, Andy ends up telling Fatima that, you know, at some point she's supposed to meet up with his therapist so that way they can all have a discussion. And Fatima is like, okay, well, give me her name, her info, because I'm about to go ahead and vet this lady to see what she really about. And I was like, I'm surprised that Andy didn't do that herself. But then again, I have to remember that this is Andy, so of course someone else is doing something that she should be doing. Moving on. So Andy starts talking about how she has so many things in common with Robin and all this stuff. And honestly, I'm not here for this storyline. My whole thing is that, yes, Andy needs to go ahead and let go of Gary. And at the same time, I don't need her to try to jump into the arms of another man. Andy needs to be on her own and figure out who Andy is and what Andy actually deserves. But of course, in Tyler Perry fashion, we're going to give her another guy who she finds so attractive, and there's going to be so much tension. Because next thing you know, Robin shows up. You know, they just have whatever little banter that they have, and then he has to let her know that, you know, there's a possibility that they're going to be working together, because at some point he was going to meet up with the top bosses so that way they can possibly open up a UK branch. Over it already. Because I know for me, in that conversation, when Robin was talking about how he basically had to come see what she looked like in person because he was just so into her voice and how she looked on the camera, all this stuff. I'm sorry, he was sounding like a creep. Creep. No, thank you. Because my whole issue with Robin is that as many times as Andy has mentioned that she's engaged, he completely ignores that. And he oversteps boundaries. Like, let's be honest here. He's overstepping boundaries. Every time he sit up here and flirt with her, he want to invite her to the Carlisle again. I'm over it. And one thing about this, though, is that it's funny to me how Andy does not try to put her foot down at all. Because, let's be honest, Andy loves the attention. Andy loves when a guy is smitten by her. Because that's just who she is. And I know that a lot of us, we got on Gary because I think it was some episodes ago when Gary was having a conversation with Andy. Actually, it might have been last season. And he was basically saying how, you know, he gets jealous and how Andy tends to use all of her feminine energy in front of men. Gary told no lies. Andy does this on purpose all the time because she has yet to shut Robin down completely. Alright, so moving on from that, we have Zach. He's exiting the bank, and he did not even say a word to Sabrina, even though she's like, bye, Zach. He just went on ahead, walked on out. I don't blame him. So what does Sabrina do? She walks her ass right on over to old girl, the other banker. It's like, well, what was all that about? Why was he here? How much money did he get? Baby girl is a blabbermouth. And she tells Sabrina everything. Oh, he bet on this stock and he made $787,000, all this stuff. My issue with this scene was after the lady told Sabrina the amount, she's like, that guy, he did that? That guy over there, Zach did that? I'm just like, girl, you making it seem like he's some type of illegal, like he doing some illegal stuff or he's a criminal. Like, don't say that to that lady like that. But typical Sabrina fashion. Always in somebody else's business except for figuring out her own. So next thing you know, Sabrina, she goes to the back and she's talking to Maurice. Maurice is over here feeding her all these compliments that he would never give her. But it's because he just hooked up with Q and he feeling good. So, of course, Sabrina's trying to fish for information. It's like, what's going on with you? Why are you so happy? Why are you complimenting me? And Maurice has to let it be known that he hooked up with Q. Now, it's crazy to me that Sabrina has to kind of be the voice of reason and be like, but isn't he on meth? And according to Maurice, that's a minor detail. Minor? Sir, it's not like he just saw weed head or something. He's on meth. Get out of here. Let's go ahead and move on. So we have Fatima and Zach on a phone call. What has Zach done, you guys? He has quit Chain Breakers. Now, I absolutely understand if he would have quit because of all the drama that was happening with Hayden. I mean, Hayden over there planting stuff in the car and all the things that he put Zach through. I absolutely understand if he would have quit then. But you're going to quit because now you have $787,000. That's not even a lot of money. When you really think about it, like to fully survive and thrive on it, that's not enough money. Like, I just feel like throughout this entire episode, once Zach got his money, he just decided to go ahead and quit everything. He has this plan in his head, but I just don't feel like that plan is going to, I don't think it's going to actually happen the way he thinks that it's going to happen. So Fatima, she's like, listen, I think you need to rethink this. I think you need to go ahead and rejoin Chainbreakers because it's not making any sense that you would just up and quit like this. Especially considering Fatima just stuck her neck out for you, telling Hayden to put you back at the top of the list. So he's like, nah, I just want to go ahead and come by tonight. I have something to tell you. So basically, I feel like he is going to try to tell Fatima about his reasoning for quitting Chainbreakers, as well as him getting this money from this stock. Now, another thing that was said within this conversation was that Fatima says that she wants to have a conversation with him. Unless this conversation is her saying, Zach, I want to move forward with you. I'm going to give us a shot. I want us to move forward to be an official couple. I'm not saying that they need to say they're official yet, but if she's saying anything along those lines, sure. But if we're going to reiterate the same conversation we've been having for the past 5 episodes, they can keep the conversation. Moving forward, right when Fatima gets off the phone, who hits the corner? Andy, out here being nosy, being Sabrina 2.0. She's like, oh, were you just on the phone with Zach? Girl, you was ear hustling that hard. Clearly, she was on the phone with Zach. And Fatima, of course, is telling Andy, yeah, I think I want to go ahead and pursue Zach. I want us to, make some moves, possibly be together, right? I'm all here for that. But my issue is that Fatima continues to tell Andy things about how she feels about Zach, and she's not getting anything from Andy. This is a one-sided friendship, okay? Because Fatima really thinks that Andy likes her. She thinks that Andy is her girl. But that's not really the case in this situation. Alright, so the next thing that we had was Andy talking to Robin yet again. And what were they doing? Flirting with each other. It is what it is. Let's move on. So now we get Zach and Danny. They are at their job, and Zach is just asking her, hypothetically, if you won $800,000, what would you do with the money? So she's like, I'll pay off my student loans, get a nice place, blah, 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 right? But she's like, this is hypothetical, it's never going to happen. So he's like, ask me what I'm going to do with it, ask me what I'll do with it. And he goes on to say, he would get a duplex that is $483,000. He will live in one side. He will rent out the other side for $2,000. So he would, pay off most of the mortgage and, also let his credit build up because we already know Zach ain't got no credit. Now, with this credit, he wants to flip other properties. The same thing that Chainbreakers does, which I absolutely understand. You learn how some people do it and make it your own. I'm all here for that. Now, as far as the rest of this plan, though, I'm kind of giving it a side eye because he's still not saying how he's going to be generating more money. Because, yes, he does have more money in that stock. But at the same time, sir, if you buy the place for $480-something thousand plus closing costs and all that, that puts you as $490, right? Then you said that you want to get a tenant. Okay, yeah, you'll have 2 G's coming in, but if your mortgage is going to be $800, take $800 out of that. So really, you're going to be bringing in $1,200. Now, as far as your own place, Okay, you have nothing. So you're going to be furnishing your place from scratch. That right there is going to be a couple stacks. So you already spent $500,000 basically. Where is the rest of your money? I'm not understanding how this is supposed to make so much sense. Like, I understand how, but realistically, he doesn't have any money coming in because later in this scene, he says that he quit this job as well. So he quit Chainbreakers. He quit this job. What money is coming in, Zach? It doesn't make sense. Like, him saying that he was going to go get the house the next day, I'm like, how is this even possible? Like, the process to buy a house is not this quick, but we'll see how Tyler Perry writes that. Because y'all know we are going day by day, or should I say hour by hour. So, as far as Danny's response to all of this, I feel like she was taken aback, first of all. Secondly, she didn't exactly seem too happy for Zach because it was happening to him and not to her. So when she asked him how much money did he actually get, he's like, ask your homegirl because I'm pretty sure she's going to tell you. And she's like, no, she isn't because of confidentiality. So as we already know, what does she do? She ends up calling Sabrina as well as Karen. Now, why does Danny have to call Karen? I have no idea. But she does. And she asks Sabrina what's going on with Zach and his finances. Because she basically wants to confirm that Zach made this $800,000. And she's like, yeah, he did it at my bank. I did not know anything about it. So Karen, she's like, is it legit? And eventually Sabrina, she's like, yeah, it's actually legit. And all you can see on like Karen's facial expression is like, it wasn't so much of a, dang, this is really what's happening to him right now. It was more so, you gotta be kidding me. I stopped messing with this fool. I had to deal with him when he was broke, and now he got money. So after that, so Karen finally asked, like, okay, so why am I even on this call? Like, why did I need to know this information? And of course, you have Danny who's like, I just thought that you would want to know, and this is something that you needed to know, or whatever. And she's like, well, I just hope that he pays me back my money. Oh, now you want him to pay you back your money? Because when he was at your house and he gave you your $5,000, you didn't want to take it. But okay, girl. Let's go ahead and move on to this scene that was so unnecessary. It was I did not need it. I want them to stop with this storyline. I need them to let it go. Sabrina is closing up the bank. Who is walking through the door? Jacoby. I'm tired of this man. I'm tired of this storyline. I need him to go ahead and move on. He is still apologizing. Still trying to get her to see his side of the story. Still trying to get her to forgive him. Boy, move along. If she don't forgive you, that ain't gonna be the end of this. It ain't gonna be the end of your life. Sabrina, she holds no weight. And speaking of Sabrina, y'all, again, I don't know if it's Novi or if it's the character, but baby girl is acting like he beat her. Am I the only one who feels this way? Like, I feel like the way that they're acting is not equivalent to what happened in their situation. Y'all get what I'm saying? Because, like, Jacoby is acting like he must have hit her in the face and he didn't mean to, and he is over here trying to apologize, beg, and plead so that she don't call the cops that he beat her ass. And she's over here acting like a frantic girl who has been abused. And you guys, I am not making any joke of this at all. I just feel like their situation does not equate to this behavior. He should not be popping up on her like this, all because he slept with her barely, and then he got fired because he fought her ex-dude. I'm not understanding the equivalence as to why his reaction is to keep popping up on her and begging for forgiveness. Then when it comes to Sabrina, why is she acting so scared and so frantic as if Jacoby is about to put hands on her, when that is not what has been happening? I don't understand it. If anything, she should have been more scared of Calvin because he was the loose cannon. But you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and let this ride. So we go ahead and we get to Andy's apartment. Baby girl is walking in. It's the end of the day. Keep in mind, she's supposed to be meeting up with Gary and his therapist tonight. However, when she gets home, they already have a session started with some girl on top of Gary. He's in the bed, and I guess this is the therapist who's looking at the girl and what Gary is doing. Y'all, what kind of therapy is this? I'm not understanding the concept. I don't understand what problem this is supposed to fix. Also, why are we acting like Gary has not slept with not Sabrina, golly. Why are we acting like Gary has not slept with Andy since she slept with Paris? He has. Like, that is not a new thing that's just... Y'all, I'm getting so frustrated with this show. I really am. Because I feel like this show could be so much better than what it is, only if Tyler would write and make sense, number one. Number two, let some days and weeks go by. Because this play-by-play of every hour, it ain't working. You're trying to cram too much drama in for every day-to-day activity. Because it is frustrating at this point to watch this show and watch these girls supposedly be sisters where really they don't even like each other. They don't. And then the whole point of these ladies and their relationships, I don't even know if we can call them relationships. Because let's go ahead and break this down real quick. You have Sabrina, who is the most indecisive character I have ever seen written. She is a frantic mess, but she plays innocent, even though she does some of the most underhanded, undermining, disrespectful things I have seen a character ever do. But oh my gosh, we can't place blame on her. Yeah, not feeling her, especially when it comes to her and Calvin. You never like the man. He's never going to be the guy that you actually want to be with. Let him go. Cut the ties. Then when it comes to Jacoby, you kept initiating things with this man, and then you get mad when he's giving you the energy that technically you're giving him. What are we here to talk about? Then let's go ahead and talk about Danny. We finally have one character, one sister, who has a guy who actually wants to be with her. He actually wants to claim her, all this stuff. But you won't even give them a happy moment together. Every time that we have seen Preston and Danny together, what are they doing? Sitting around her apartment and she's complaining about what's going on with the girls, or there was some drama with his family. Can these people be happy? Can he just say, you know what, Danny, you've had a long day at work. Let me go ahead and take you out to dinner instead of me making steak and potatoes every time. Can we get that? Can we actually see them? I would rather them have an interaction with somebody judging them because they're an interracial couple than to have this. I'm over it. Oh, let's go ahead and move on to Karen, because the Karen and Zach and Aaron saga, I'm completely over that as well. Because again, we're going this day by day, and it is stretching out this situation unnecessarily. Because every episode we hear either someone mentions to Karen, you're still in love with Zach. Or we have someone mention to Zach, you're still in love with Karen. Oh, why? Because they hooked up and it hasn't even been a week yet since that happened. Tyler, let these people separate. We don't need them to be in game at all. As far as Karen and Aaron goes, I really want that man to figure his life out. Because let's be honest, Aaron, he did come with a lot of baggage. He did. He had the ex-wife. The lady committed suicide in Karen's business. Then her brother came after Karen. All that foolery happened. Okay, now we're on a good foot, right? Oh, this preview for the next episode where they talk about them possibly getting married. Tyler, get out my face with this. Out of my face. Like, I just want her and Aaron to just have decent dates. That's it. Take her out on the town. Or how about this? Meet up at his house. Hell, he might be homeless. We don't know. Because the only thing I know is that he's supposed to be a pastor. I don't know what his income is. Moving on. Oh, let's go ahead and get on Andy. Andy and her drama with Gary, it has drained all of us. I absolutely understand that she's the main character, but we're done. We are over Andy. We're tired of the back and forth with Gary. The man is trash. Why are we trying to make it seem like Gary is a saint or as if he's like not as bad as what he used to be? Gary is still trash. Like, nothing has changed about this man. Now, did I agree with him on the last episode about her lying? Absolutely. Because let's be honest, Andy is a trash character as well. She's not a friend to any of these girls. She just uses them at her time of need. I mean, even to the point where they just got summons in her legal drama with this man's ex-wife. Girl, and all you have to say is, oh, I'll get it cleared up. It'll be fine. Excuse me? Why are you getting your friends involved in all your mess? Carrie don't want to be involved. Danny don't want to be involved. And Sabrina does not want to be involved either in your drama with this man and his wife. Are you kidding me? And you just want to brush it under the rug? You just want to sweep it under the rug like it's nothing? It's okay? Andy got to go. Especially when she invited them girls out and was only with them for like 3 minutes. And then she came back and was like, all right, y'all, I'm about to go home. Trifling. Oh, and let me not even start on Fatima and Zach. Y'all already know I go up for Fatima all the way. As well as Zach, you know, him and his come up. Great. But I am tired of them having the same conversation over and over again. Oh, and also, when it comes to Fatima, let's be honest. Fatima is never going to be a sister because of the way that it has been written in. Like, I feel like Karen is always going to have a personal issue with her. And if Karen has an issue, then Andy has an issue. And then it just trickles on down to the rest of the girls. Because even when it was them going out to dinner, it was like, oh no, don't bring Fatima. She's not really with us like that. Andy, she's your friend. She ain't really a friend of ours. So, it's cute that she's in the intro because she does have a storyline, but I don't think that she's ever going to really be a sister like that. I think there's always going to be some type of underlying issue. Yeah, I feel like I have been ranting long enough. It is just so frustrating to watch this show, especially like this season. And we are already to the mid-season episode next week. Well, this week, I guess. No, next week. That's when I'll put this out. I know this video is very late, but we're already to the mid-season finale. And I feel like we got cheated. We got gypped. There should have been some other things happening. And then for the preview for next week, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I need for it to pick up. I need for it to get better. Maybe the second half is going to be better than this half. We shall see. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Oh my gosh, I actually just want to thank everyone who has subscribed to my channel and who even watches my videos, just because my channel has been growing and I greatly appreciate it. I will actually talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.